I'd like to welcome you all. Thank you for taking the time to be with us here today. This is just an introductory meeting for a program that we're about to launch next year. And we decided to start on time. I thought that was the first step to get into the international world, you know, being on time. And we're here to announce this program that we established together with University of Texas IC2 Institute. Let me tell you about how this initiative started. We had the chance to visit their facility last year thanks to a tour that State Department has funded. And we were very impressed with the model that they had there. And they were so eager to express their know-how overseas. And thanks to, again, State Department and thanks to Skype, we managed to put together this proposal. Actually, they did. They put together this proposal. And we are doing a first in Turkey. We're trying to transfer some knowledge that we are not used to hearing before. I'll leave the introduction to them. I'm pretty sure they'll answer your questions in a proper way, better than I would. And once again, thanks to State Department and thanks to our consulate in Ankara, and thank you to our guests. Thank you for being with us here today. Thank you for taking the time to travel overseas just to do this introduction. Much appreciated. And I'll leave the floor to İhsan from TTGV to tell us about why we need such a program. Thank you.
Good afternoon, welcome, and thank you all for coming to our opening meeting for this program. In order to introduce why we have developed such a program, I decided to take a small tour about the Turkish ST, Science, Technology and Innovation Policy in the last 20 years, maybe in at most 2 minutes, so if I can do that. So to better understand why we are trying to develop such a program. Well, the Turkish innovation R&D system is actually pretty new. It started in the 1990s. Before that, we were trying to gain technology through foreign direct investment, or it was a main tool that we used. We had investment support schemes here in Turkey. TTG was the first organization actually established to support the research and development activities of private sector. Before that, we had TÜBİTAK support for academic research. And KOSGEB and TÜBİTAK very soon, just after that, started providing grant supports for R&D activities, realizing that how important it is for Turkish companies to develop their own technologies. This was the first phase, according to my observation. In the second stage, we have very soon realized that actually just providing support, R&D support to companies was not enough. Knowledge was being created up on the top higher levels by the academia here in Turkey. So we started developing new programs trying to get our companies closer to the higher levels in the hierarchy, to get closer to the academia. And we have, for example, established technopark support programs. We are in one of those technoparks nowadays. So that's how we started getting more and more towards commercialization of ideas from the academia. And finally, in the mid-2000s, there was a boost in our research and development support programs here in Turkey. We have all kinds of organizations providing support, starting from TÜBİTAK to Ministry of Science, Technology and Industry to regional development agencies. There is lots of money currently in the system. Just last week, we have heard TÜBİTAK announcing a technology transfer office support program. So currently in the system, we have lots and lots of money pumped by the government in order to increase the competitiveness of Turkish companies by R&D. However, what we see missing in this link is we don't have experts with the expertise, related expertise, to help the entrepreneurs or the companies to identify their ideas and help them through the process of commercializing those ideas. So we believe that UTTP, the project that we are going to do with IC², they have the experience and the wisdom. I have been with them for the last week. I have heard lots of examples from them to teach how this can be accomplished here in Turkey, how the experts can do that. Well, actually, I don't want to go on further because Heath and Greg will be telling us more about what they have accomplished so far. But having the opportunity, I would like to thank them for coming here and helping us manage or run this program. And finally, I would like to thank the U.S. Embassy, the State Department, for their support for providing the funding necessary for this program. And for that, I want to call Tom here to talk a little bit about why they have been doing such activities here and all over the world.
Thank you. Thank you, Sam. My name is Tom Coleman. I'm from the U.S. Embassy. I work in the economic section of our embassy here in Ankara. I'm delighted to be here with you today. It's a pleasure that we have to announce and to have you here for this rollout of this program, this new Applied Technology Commercialization Program. As you know, this is a partnership between the U.S. Department of State, IC2 Institute at the University of Texas, the Turkish Technology Development Foundation, and Bill Kent Cyber Park. I just want to give you a bit of context about why we're doing this and why it's important to the U.S. As you probably know, our President Obama, came here in 2009. It was his first trip overseas, and he pledged at that time to renew the alliance between our nations and the friendship between our people. And so that sort of outlines the broad brushstrokes of what we're doing here. That's what we're about. Turkey and the U.S. have long had a really strong military relationship, but what's essential now is that we also develop a model economic partnership. And we've realized that in Turkey, especially in Turkey, entrepreneurship is key to that. There's a lot of excitement about entrepreneurship, there's a lot of excitement about innovation here, and we really want to be a part of that. Entrepreneurship, as I say, is a big reason that Turkey has gotten where it is today. It's the 17th largest economy in the world. It wants to be number 10 by 2023. But you also know that to reach that, to move up the ladder, you're going to have to significantly expand your innovation sector. And innovation has been really important to the development of the U.S. economy, and it's going to be really important to the Turkish economy as well. Science and technology innovation offers an environment in which entrepreneurs thrive, and it offers a lot of good careers, as you know. However, you're going to have to learn to exploit the intellectual property, the intellectual research that's already coming out of Turkey. And that's why we think this program is really important. This program will help you learn how to commercialize, to bring ideas to market, and that's the essential part. That's what we think is so important here. And that's why we're so excited about this. It's a great model for our science and technology cooperation going forward. It's a model that we know will help build Turkey's knowledge economy, and I want to thank Greg and Heath for being here. Thank Canan and Isan and our friends from Management Development Agency for also being here and your support, and we look forward to seeing what you're going to do over the next 6 months. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Greg Pogue thank you very much for coming and attending this kickoff. I appreciate you letting us do things in English as well. I know that that's unfortunately our limitation, not yours, and we appreciate that greatly. We'd like to say thank you to John, I'd like to say thank you to Isan and Tom, as well as everyone we've been able to meet this week for hosting us here, for allowing us to understand your procedures, your processes, the infrastructure you have built around entrepreneurship. It's very important for us to work with you, to have our programs linked with what you are already doing, with the excellence that's in science and the progress in entrepreneurship that already exists. I must say that speaking on behalf of Heath and myself, we are very impressed with the depth and quality of science, the vision that the different groups in both in Istanbul and Ankara have communicated. And I think that this is a program that has been well suited and fitted to the needs of the area. We are anxious to work with you and partner with you as you move forward to take the excellence of your science and convert this into new business opportunity. The program that we have applied to, that the state has supported, is building opportunities through technology, science and technology, or the BOOST program. He's now going to describe the program and its components so you understand, in essence, what will be taught, the structure of the process, and how you can get involved, either directly as a student in this executive program, or maybe sending someone from your institution to be a part. In the end, the key matter in this process is that this is a training situation which we want to access Turkey's leading innovations and measure these against the market. So not only are we providing training to individuals, but we are maturing some of your own innovations and positioning them closer to international commercialization. So Heath?
Thanks, Greg. I'm going to have to swap out screens real quick. I apologize. Down there. So, thank you, Hassan. I appreciate that. So thank you all for being here. As Greg mentioned, both he and I have been very appreciative of the work already done on your parts here in Turkey and the massive microphone problem I apparently have. What we found in our tour of the last week, besides exhausting Hassan with too many examples from IC², we have found out that there's a lot of competency and a lot of opportunity here for international commercialization. So we're going to talk more later on. But right now, we've had lots of questions from folks about what this program is and what we'll be doing over the next year. So, as Greg already mentioned, BOOST stands for Building Opportunities Out of Science and Technology. Thanks again, Tom, for the support of the State Department of that. And here are the goals of the BOOST program, just so there's no confusion about what we're trying to do here, as presented by state. We want to help build capacity of scientists to perform innovative research, connect with the international scientific community, and apply the technical training in addressing key global challenges and in advancing economic growth. So what that means really is we want to help innovations in Turkey connect with international markets to help drive economic growth here in your country. So our program is a structured training program that's designed to assist in the early validation of technology for market readiness, as it already has been mentioned. It is intensive learning. This is an executive education program. Intensive learning, just for those of you considering applying. It's based upon the global expertise of IC² in the international commercialization space, and the lessons we've learned over the last 30 plus years in working internationally in technology commercialization. Greg's going to tell you a little bit more about the background of IC² in just a moment. So, the basics of the program. It's 12 all-day long modules. We're going to start in February. we're going to finish in May, the training. There's going to be 4 sessions of 3 classes spaced out over that time. We're still defining Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, how that progression is going to go during a work week. But we will, rest assured, we will let you know when. The key deliverables for people participating is the delivery of a technology commercialization assessment report, a quick one. That is a core methodology of the IC² Institute, which we will be instructing participants on. This technology commercialization assessment is, just for sense of scope, this is used in place of a master's thesis in the United States in our master's program there. It is a very intensive document to develop with a lot of methodologies and discipline embedded within it. The outcome of that is a go or no-go for technology or business concepts on the international, and from the aspect of international commercialization, whether this should really be moved forward internationally or not. Is there justification to move technology forward? We will also have a commercialization strategy document. This is not to be confused with a business plan. I know people have business plans all over. This is a very tactical next steps document on the commercialization strategy, should it be a go forward, for moving a technology from where it is now in your laboratories, in your technoparks, here in Turkey, to international competitiveness. And also there'll be a commercialization recommendation presentation. At the very end, you'll take your learnings, present what you've discovered to a panel of judges, along with your recommendation why you should move forward for international commercialization of your technology. So I'm not going to read all of this. Is this going to be available to them?
Well, on the website.
We'll put it on the website, so you can read this more at length. I don't want to spend 30 minutes reading every word. But this is an overview of the curriculum. So session 1, 2, and 3 will be the first block. Session 1 is the introduction. We'll do some team formation. We'll get to the team part in a second. We're going to do some team formation around technologies, an overview of the course, and we will have assignments day 1. So I'm sorry to let everybody know. Day 2, the session 2, will be the introduction to the quick look methodology. Its use, its application, its components, and how you, the basic bones of it. There will be templates provided. There will be examples provided. We will walk you through the construction of it, and there will be assignments at day 2. Session 3 is secondary research. Most of us could agree that when we do see business plans or see presentations, they're mostly fed by Google. Okay? There is a place for using Google, but it is not the best way we argue our methodology, but there is a place for it. So we'll cover some of those methodologies early on in the process to help you build the bones around the quick look and get the Googling out of the way early. Then we'll leave. We'll have an assignment that we turned in online. All participants will be given access to an online classroom setting, Canvas, Blackboard type thing for those of you in universities you may be familiar with. Then we're going to come back, and then we're going to really dive into the meat of this. We're going to have a session on conducting primary research, actually reaching out to, speaking with, and interviewing the market on whether there's interest in your technology or not. This is a core part, or really the part, of the quick look that makes it unique in the technology commercialization space. Then we'll talk about developing a technology value proposition. There's concern usually about, well, I don't want to talk to anybody about what I'm doing, they may steal it. We will teach you how to have non-proprietary discussions, talking about the benefits of the technology, but not the features. And there's a difference. Okay? So we'll talk about strategies about how to do that, how to source this business intelligence while letting your secrets out. Then, session 6, we're going to cover marketing. We have a unique, I don't know if it's unique, there's always, you're going to have to market yourselves and market your technology to be competitive internationally. We have strategies to help you with that. We'll leave again, then we're going to come back. At that point, you will have a lot of assignments after that week. So there will be about a 3-week period for you to get those completed and get those assignments turned in prior to the next round. Then we're going to get into technology licensing and partnerships. And what does technology licensing mean? What are options? What are, get into some of the granular strategies for technology licensing. Talk about negotiations, how to effectively negotiate internationally, when you're trying to determine the value and how to put forth your technology on the international marketplace. Valuation is always a concern. How do you convert your idea into something worth money? We'll teach you how to do that. Then session 10 will be the development of a commercialization plan, which is taking the quick look methodology and feeding it into that strategic tactical document I told you about. That will help drive, hopefully the next steps of your technology over the next bit of time. Then there'll be a working session before your presentation. We'll spend some time with you clearing up any questions, making sure your presentation's ready, you're able to work with us, and we're able to answer your questions prior to you actually presenting to the panel of judges, which will happen in session 12, where you'll present your findings, what you discovered over the course of the course, during the course. My English isn't good, almost as bad as my Turkish. So, during the course of the instruction, and that's it. So, these are the sections of the quick look. Just so you guys know, this is sort of, there's a whole day about this. There's a whole course about this in the US, but these are the different sections that participants will be completing during the course of their instruction. Will be a deliverable. Just so you know, these are usually 60-page documents once it's all done, so these are big things. So instructors, a little bit about instructors. We have a host of instructors that we've used to teach this curriculum internationally. I will be one of the instructors. We can tell you a little bit about our backgrounds real quick. I'm going to cover two people who are not here. Marco Bravo will likely be an instructor for during the course of this. He was former Undersecretary for Science and Education in the country of Portugal. He's now on IC Squared staff. He has 2 master's degrees. He's finishing his PhD in mechanical engineering and transform the science and technology policy in the country of Portugal. He'll be one of the instructors. Max Green is a gentleman who's in our Office of Technology Commercialization at UT Austin. He has worked on more than $90 million worth of licensing deals, evaluating technologies, and been working there for quite some time. Prior to that, he worked with NASA in the same capacity. Wealth of experience in all manner of technologies and how to license them and get them out of the lab into the market. I'll let Greg tell you about himself. Greg, you want to say a word real quick? Well, or 15 minutes.
Why don't you say first and I'll follow.
Okay, fair enough. So myself, I have a background with a variety of startups, some that failed miserably, some that went really well. Just being honest. Learned a lot of lessons that way. One of my businesses had more than $10 million annually in revenue. Did okay. Left that, went to academia. I do a variety of work with a variety of federal agencies in the United States. I've worked in 17 countries on technology commercialization, and I've put together and helped attract more than $20 million of investment to small startup firms in the United States and internationally. So, Greg?
So my background is I'm a molecular and cellular biologist. I have a PhD in that area. I worked for the Food and Drug Administration for a number of years, both in review and in science. Developed my first product while there, which was a diagnostic device for Leishmania, a particular parasite that was used in India. This diagnostic device was used about 10 years. I've been involved with 6 startup companies, one which I helped bring public in 2001 for $90 million. Been involved in about $100 million in raised funds. I've done deals ranging probably about $85 million in realized capital and grants worth about $30 million. My background further extends into beyond companies, into technology transfer offices, managing technologies, developing licensing relationships, as well as working in the venture capital community. I feel it's a great privilege to work with IC Squared to apply this knowledge in a constructive fashion. We get the opportunity to work with great, smart people on interesting technologies in great areas around the world. So this is a really a great opportunity.
Thank you. So there'll be others, other cast characters that you will see, but all that have international experience and expertise in specific areas of this curriculum. So let's get. You get fun, maybe, we'll see. A lot of work, certainly. A certificate of completion, which will get you a cup of coffee next time you come to Austin, just joking. a certificate of completion from the IC Squared Institute and the University of Texas at Austin. This is a curriculum. This is something that there will be some evaluation of, and those who pass, which I expect everybody will get the Executive Education Certificate from UT Austin, which requires a lot of paperwork. You get a job. But the winner of this gets to spend 1 week in Austin. This is a sponsored trip, which is part of the funding, with us in Austin. And so what we do, when we've done this before, I'll give you an example. A team from Columbia recently came and won one of these competitions. We established meetings for them specifically around their technology with DuPont Venture Capital Group, which allowed them to pitch their technology and seek funding. We established next stage research projects and programs with our Drug Development Institute. And we allowed them to, we arranged for them to work with one of the preeminent professors and researchers and CEOs, all in the same guy, in pharmacology, which is the area their technology was in, so they could get lessons learned from CEOs there in Austin. And other stuff. We can go on down the list. But basically, we tried to deliver a tailored week, which allowed them to pitch their technology to the market in the U.S. for whatever that team needed, which is why your quick look is so important, so we know how to help you best when you arrive in Austin. So there might be a question about teams by now and how these teams are going to be formed. So the training will handle 40 people. There will be 10 teams of 4 people. We're going to what we're going to do is we're going to have applicants from around the different institutions in the community here in Turkey that we visited with. We want 10 technologists. That means people that have been involved with either creating a technology, maybe work in a lab with a professor who invented a technology, some representative of a technology from Turkey. Because the cornerstone of this education is working on Turkish cases, real technologies from here, not bringing in Harvard case studies or some other hypothetical example. Work on real living technologies and move that forward. We want 10 folks from the technology transfer community, those people exploring those activities, so that you guys can better understand how to evaluate your technologies and your portfolio as they come in. Folks from the public section, federal agencies, those types of organizations that we've met with, as you guys are working in your respective areas, being able to evaluate projects that are technology-based is often quite helpful. And academic research persons from either industry or university, people that ideally that can act as subject matter experts to help bolster the team's expertise. So how are the teams going to be formed? We're going to take applications. Folks at IC Square, we have experience doing this. We will work with our partners at BuildKit and Teknoloji to help form the teams around technologies based on the application data received. How do you get in? So applications will open on the website, which many of you may have seen already, uttp.org. We're going to open the applications next Tuesday. There's 2 separate application forms. One is for entrepreneurs, technologists, people that have their represented technology in the program, and another application form for potential team members, those interested in working on this process. As I said already, 10 teams of 4 will be accepted, 40 persons total. Teams will be announced in January, very early in January, once we sort through the applications. Classes will start in February, final class dates, meaning which days of February, March, April, they will be announced on the website very shortly. So that's the program in a nutshell. Are there any questions about what that is, or did we get most of those answered? Sir?
I'm a lawyer. Can a lawyer be eligible for one of these schemes, for example, public persons?
Absolutely. I mean,
I'm very interested in international commercial contracts, especially IP projects.
Well, so we encourage those legal individuals that have worked with public agencies, or short answer is yes. We want people with legal expertise to apply. So yes, certainly. Very good. Yes, ma'am.
If in your industry, for example, do you have to have 10 people from public or 10 from academia, or should it
We'll see. It depends on how many applications we get. So it really depends. In the past, I can just tell you what's happened in the past. In the past, when last round we did this in Columbia, we had 40 slots. We had 167 people apply. You know, we had to do some moving things around. And we did work with our partners based on the agency fit. Because what we're trying to accomplish here is we're trying to diffuse this methodology throughout your respective agencies. So we want to give everybody equal chance to learn. Greg?
One of the questions that Tom asked is, you do not have to apply as a group, as a team. We will basically assort team members along with a technology such that you will have to work with people you may know, you may not know well. Because part of the goal of this is to build new relationships and learn to rely and work together as teams.
Right.
So do not feel that you have to build a 4-person team to apply. You can certainly try to do that. You know, yourself and 3 other friends apply. But you don't have to. You can apply as an individual. And again, if you have a technology, you're going to be competing to be one of the 10 technologies that are chosen to be built, teams to be built around. And to answer your question as well, we're going to pick the best people to be in the program. We'd like it to be a ratio as close as we can to have good representation. But we're going to pick the best individuals based on their qualifications and their fit in the process.
I have 2 questions. One is attendance mandatory, and second, are they going to be shuffling of the teams throughout, or once you're in the team, you're going to stick with it till the end?
Good questions. Attendance is mandatory. There's actually a little button on there on applications that it's almost like a contract. So if you agree to do this program, that means you, your boss, whomever you answer to has agreed that you will be allowed to come to these trainings. Okay, if day 1, oh, I showed up late and my boss said I had to take emails, so I have emails, I get it, I know. But if that happens, you're going to be so far behind and hold your team back, it's just not fair to the rest of the group. I will get to you in 1 second, sir. And then, so mandatory, yes. I mean, if you have to run out to make 1 call in a day, we're not going to throw rocks at you or anything, but you need to be there and be present and support your team. As far as team.
One example of this in Colombia, one of the team members was actually on a trip in Europe and actually Skyped in for the day-long trip in the middle of the night in Europe to attend the class during the daytime in Colombia.
So they were talking screen throughout the class. We can be flexible like that, but we want you there.
Commitment.
It's commitment, right? That's what it's free training, but it is an opportunity. There's commitment. As far as team shuffling, all right, you're probably going to be on teams. Some of you may be paired with somebody you don't like. You may get in a fight. I don't know. It happens. But at the end of the day, it's important that everyone learn to work together. So the short answer is no. There will not be team shuffling. You need to, part of this is learning how to work together. This is part of the whole experience. Sir?
How many hours a week?
How many hours a week?
Because it seems like it's going to be a 5 months process.
Well, it is a 5-month process. Obviously, we can't travel here every week. So we grouped out. So 1 week, I'll give you an example. We're tentatively slated in February to do the 20th, 21st, 22nd, which is a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That would be 24 hours of instruction. Okay, that week you give up 24 hours. The next set, it's staggered, so it would be like the 2nd week of March because there's not so many assignments in between there. Then the next set after that is not till April. You have like a month. But it's so you can get your assignments done because we give you an assignment after that. So if it averages out over that period, you're basically looking roughly around 12 to 14 hours, roughly, of class time.
1 week every month.
That's a safe bet. That's a safe bet. Now that's for class time. Planning on homework and assignments, plan on roughly 5 to 10 hours per week. There will be spikes. Once you get assignment turning, you'll be like, oh, I'm good. And then all of a sudden you're going to say, oh, I have to work with my team for the next 22 days straight to get it done. And it happens. Just so you guys know, I mean, we're mean. It's horrible. Any other questions?
Do you have to have a specific project that you work on before? Is it a prerequisite to come to this course?
So the project, we need 10 cases, 10 projects to work on.
I mean, will that be a case study here, or the case is already being worked on by the participants?
So let me make sure, I may not.
Are you going to give out technologies that we...
We're not giving out technologies.
We have to find them on our own?
Correct.
Not to apply.
To apply as an entrepreneur or technologist, you need to have a technology. To apply as a team member, you do not. Does that make sense? Because we have, we need 10 cases from Turkey to work on.
So what's the difference to apply as a team member?
The prerequisites?
Yeah.
Requirements for applying, there's no hard and fast requirement. I mean, the general selection criteria will be as you expect, 1, educational background, 2, work experience in this field of tech transfer, funding agencies, law, business, engineering, something like that. We need a distribution to make effective teams. Commitment to the program. Yes, I can attend all the days. That's a prerequisite, if you will. Some level of competency in English. Okay? Unfortunately, as I already said, my English is bad and my Turkish is worse. So I'm sorry. But most material will be in English, and there's actually a reason for this. Is as you look to international commercialization, that's how business is done. And so it's important that we give you as much exposure to terminology and verbiage and even slang in the English in this commercialization space, that when you go to move things forward, you're able to dialogue and communicate effectively in this manner. So it will be in English. So now that you have that perfect, we've worked with people that understood well, didn't want to speak it, and they got through it, and it was okay. But it is...
You may want to go back over the 2 different applications.
Yeah, let's go
walk through that.
Okay, so, all right. Right here, there's 2 application forms that'll be on the website. One, there'll be an entrepreneur technology lead application. This is the application form where if you have a technology you want introduced into the program, whether from your laboratory, from your company, from your, you can do an idea, but we need to have something, hopefully with some kind of intellectual property protection capability, of some kind, whether know-how, patent, whatever. This is where we will select the projects and cases that we'll be working on throughout this program. Okay? So this, in that form, in that first one, that's where a technology is needed. There's a whole section on what your technology is, what status it's at, describe it to us a little bit so we know what we're dealing with. There will be an element of selection. We've worked on literally thousands of technologies around the world for commercialization purposes. We have seen, as Hassan knows, too many examples. We've seen plenty of examples, so we know not exactly what everything is. We have a good sense for what we can best help in. And the goal of this is at the end, we want to be able to move it forward. We would love to get a success out of this initial program. So there will be some selection based on our competency as IC Squared and the University of Texas at Austin. Fortunately, we worked on everything from cheese to, nuclear reactors, and everything in between. So we have a pretty good idea of how things work in almost any field. The team member application does not require technology. It has nothing to do with that. It instead has more to do with your motivation and interest in participating in this program as it's described, as well as your commitment to be able to participate. Did that explain that again?
So there are 2 stages.
Two different applications.
And some people will make 2 applications. Some people will make only 1, right?
Correct. Well, I mean, if hypothetically, if somebody has a technology idea they want to present, they would also like to try and apply to be a team member. It is conceivable that maybe the technology wouldn't be selected, so they'd be selected as a team member, or either way. So that's possible.
And maybe it's better to communicate with the other people here, because maybe our company has some documents, but we don't have an idea.
Now, if you don't have an idea, and you want to talk to one of the university partners over the next couple of weeks and try and figure out something you can work on, that's up to you.
At what stage should that be?
Any stage. It can be idea, it can be prototype, it can be ready to go to market in theory. The methodology is able to be applied at any stage. Okay, it doesn't matter. We don't care what area of science it's in. We don't care what stage of development it's at. We can apply it on all phases. So we don't care on that end. So any stage. And as far as getting together with other groups to do a team application, if you will, is that where you were going with that? Were you asking if you should maybe get with other folks to do a team application? You can certainly try and do that.
There's no promises.
There's no promises that it will be a team that's accepted all in one. But you can certainly try. And it may mean there's a strong application. We'll take a look. Yeah?
Let's assume that we bring our technology to the program. Should this technology be commercialized successfully? Will Universal Texas or IC2 demand a share on the product?
Ooh, good question. What's the catch?
You already got to the commercialization process.
That's a good question. Are you law?
No.
So the short answer is no. We're not taking part of anything. Okay. We're not demanding any equity. We're not demanding any shares. We're not a thing. People have asked, why are we here? Why are we doing this? Is it goodwill? What is this? Our real reason for doing this is one, because Greg and I honestly like going different places. But two, why not here? And John told us we had to come, so we did. But the real reason is it's the mission of the University of Texas to expand our global recognition. And it's our mission of our institute to take the lessons we've learned and promote those globally. So we have a mission to fulfill. As a result of that, whenever we work with a group, actually we are not even allowed to take an equity piece because we are a public institution by our rules in the United States. Huh? We're University of Texas is a public institution. We are non-for-profit. We are not allowed by our laws to take an equity piece. We can get real creative and try and steal something if you wanted, but no, that's not what we're doing.
Thank you.
Okay, but excellent question. Yep. Okay, so thank you for the questions. We've gone over time, but I'm glad we got a lot of these things cleared up. It's very important. Greg's going to talk next, and if there's additional questions afterwards when we're done, feel free to talk to one of us about that.
We'll try to clarify some of the goals, some of the rationale why we're here through discussion of this particular topic, the intersection of research and commercialization. In this section, we'll try to describe who we are as the IC² Institute, why in the world we're here, and some of the perspectives that will drive some of the activities that we are going to be doing. We are the IC² Institute from the University of Texas at Austin. This is our gnome. Our gnome goes with us where we go. We use this actually on purpose because you'll notice that the gnome has a particular color. This is a color that is trademarked by the University of Texas at Austin. You'll notice that it has some horns on the side. You'll also notice that they're on my collar as well. This is also a trademark of the University of Texas at Austin. The annual revenue brought in from using this one trademark alone, the horns, is over $9 million a year to the University of Texas for licensing that. We use this as an example of how one can use innovation to create intellectual property, which can be protected in different ways, and then creatively marketing this intellectual property to create opportunities for capital development. Thus, we are the Institute of Innovation, Creativity, and Capital. We're a think and do tank. We do research in the area of entrepreneurship, research in how companies are incubated and built, but we also do this in practice. Our research must boil down into practice and methodologies that we can impart. So what you're a part of in this boost program is part of the do, part of the teaching and service aspects of the University of Texas at Austin expressed in Turkey. So as an overview, we were formed in 1977 by Dr. George Kosmetsky. George was the founder and founding CEO of Teledyne. This is a storied U.S. company. He became the dean of our business school and built it into one of the leading business schools in the world. The premise that he built the Institute on was that if you harness the power of science and technology and capitalize it appropriately, you can build local wealth that will benefit the region which you develop the technology in. And the technologies will not all leave and go to Boston or go to Silicon Valley, but can stay local. We research best practices, as I said, in the areas of business acceleration, incubation, capital formation, entrepreneurship. And then we also practice by mentorship and training. John, we research and we apply globally. From the very beginning, Dr. Kosmetsky developed an interaction before the internet of over 200 experts in commercialization around the world. They meet every 5 years. Next year they'll be meeting in Austin to discuss particular practice. And now that we have the internet, this makes the process, of course, much easier. John Sibley Butler is our president director. He's an expert in entrepreneurship among immigrants. He served under the Bush administration as well. We have 4 grand purposes. The first is to develop human capital without developing humans in region who have capabilities of understanding technology, developing it, and moving it into the marketplace. You really have no business creation. Second, to grow thriving civil society without appropriate policy, without appropriate government practice, entrepreneurs and scientists will not be motivated to be involved in the wealth creation process. So therefore, we have been involved in the advising of this process in the United States, Japan, Portugal, Russia, and many other countries around the world. We also catalyze global economic networks. We firmly believe that local markets are insufficient in most businesses to create large wealth creation instruments, meaning that you will come to a point where you run out of market locally. And if you do not plan for international markets at the start, you'll often find you have limitations in taking your product or service global. And finally, we believe that we want to create wealth in local regions. We believe in constructive capitalism, the building of local wealth which understands its responsibility to reinvest its wisdom, its time, and its money in other entrepreneurs locally. In other words, pay it forward. The goal is how to benefit others in the region. And by benefiting others, you find benefit yourself. As I've mentioned, we continue to research business incubation, wealth creation, entrepreneurship, technology commercialization, sustainability, and policy. And we do this in a manner which is not culturally specific. Since we work in various countries, in various continents, the goal is to understand what is common and then help local regions focus how these principles work best within their culture. That was the reason we were here for the last week, to interview and understand what is your practice, what are your goals, what is your level of understanding, where do you want to go, so that we can craft this program to fit within your environment. The Institute is combined of really 3 active elements. The Global Commercialization Group has been involved in taking our practices, packaging these, and collaborating with 14 different countries around the world. They've trained almost 4,000 individuals. They've developed over 300 business deals for companies in different countries around the world, yielding almost, now that number is probably closing in on $300 million in economic value. An example of this is the TechBot program in Mexico, where we've trained over 300 people, worked with 45 companies to generate 80 deals worth greater than $35 million. The Austin Technology Incubator is a focused program around Central Texas. It is generally viewed as one of the leading incubators in the United States. We've generated greater than 10,000 jobs, training thousands of students. In the last 3 years, the city of Austin has invested $3 million in the Austin Technology Incubator. We have produced over $100 million in third-party recognized economic value, raised over $150 million for our companies, and seen over $300 million in exits. So we focus on IT, wireless, clean energy, bio and healthcare, and also undergraduate entrepreneurship programs. Finally, we have the Bureau of Business Research, which provides econometric analysis of policy impacts starting in Texas and throughout the world. Its latest study has been focused on understanding how policy impacts the success of Hispanic companies in Texas and how lawmakers can alter policy to improve their success rate. So, we're going to start talking a little bit about how to move an idea from your laboratory, your garage, or your brain, and move it actually into the marketplace. And one of the processes that's actually very useful is the Big Bang Theory provides some really useful perspective. How many people have watched this show before? Raise your hand. Excellent. So I don't have to really introduce Sheldon, the theoretical physicist, Penny, the aspiring actress, Howard is the engineer, Raj is an Indian scientist, and Leonard, of course, is in love with Penny. So I'm going to show you a brief clip, and I want us to discuss this a bit, about what it is like for an entrepreneur to actually begin to develop an idea, and how scientists respond to business opportunities. Yeah, where's it showing?
Top at the bottom.
Gotta love Microsoft, don't you? It was actually set before, guys, I'm sorry.
That nearly 14 billion years ago expansion started. Wait a minute, you're beginning.
Knight to Queen's Bishop 5. Oh, very nice. What's Leonard going to do? Does he give up the pawn or does he give up the position?
Penny, Penny, Penny.
Hey, Sheldon.
It's 11 a.m.
I know, you're safe.
This package came while you were at work.
Oh, great, my rhinestones, thank you.
Excuse me?
What?
You have to sign this?
What is it?
When I signed for the package, I was deputized by the United Parcel Service and entrusted with its final delivery. I now need you to acknowledge receipt of the package so that I'm fully indemnified and no longer liable.
Sheldon, it's just a box of rhinestones.
Well, the contents are irrelevant. A legal bailment has been created. Does that mean nothing to you?
It means nothing to anybody. Come here, let me show you what I'm doing.
Bailment describes a relationship in common law where a physical possession of personal property or chattels is transferred from one person, the bailer, to another person, the bailee.
Yeah. Look, I started a business.
Obviously not a cleaning business.
No, I'm making flower barrettes, see? I call them penny blossoms. I made one for myself, and then all the girls at work wanted one, and then I showed some to this lady who runs a shop in Old Town. She sells cards and homemade jewelry. She said she wanted to sell them. I said okay, and in 1 week I made $156.
Good for you. Sign here.
Sheldon, get it? If this takes off, I won't have to be a waitress anymore.
But then who will bring me my cheeseburger on Tuesday nights?
Another waitress?
What's her name?
I don't know.
And you're going to let her handle my food?
Nancy. Her name is Nancy.
I think you're just making that up.
Sheldon, I'm sorry about your hamburger, okay? I just don't want to be a waitress for the rest of my life.
Cheeseburger. I get a cheeseburger.
Fine, cheeseburger.
Maybe I'd be better off with Nancy.
So, what do you think? I mean, this could be a business, right?
How many of these can you make a day?
About 20.
And how much profit do you make per penny blossom?
I don't know, like 50 cents, I'm not sure.
No, of course you're not. All right. $10 a day times 5 days a week times 52 weeks a year is $2,600.
That's all?
Before taxes.
Well, I don't have to pay taxes on this stuff.
I believe the Internal Revenue Service would strongly disagree. But if you took advantage of modern marketing techniques and you optimized your manufacturing process, you might be able to make this a viable business.
And you know about that stuff?
Penny. I'm a physicist. I have a working knowledge of the entire universe and everything it contains.
Who's Radiohead?
I have a working knowledge of the important things in the universe. Good luck.
Sheldon.
All right, let's talk about this for a second. Penny was very excited about her invention. What was her invention? The penny blossom, right. How much money did she make in the first week that made her very excited? Yeah, about 160 bucks. Very excited. What was her goal with the penny blossoms? Quit the day job. Become rich. Not have to be, a waitress any longer. What was Penny's problem, though? Exactly. She didn't know how to even understand how much to sell her penny blossoms for, and she found out that she may make only as much as she made in a week waiting tables selling penny blossoms for an entire year. Never thought about the whole process. What were her sales channels? How was she going to get the product out to market? An old lady that was in some town down in the center part of the city. Who else? Yeah, mouth-to-mouth marketing. Yes, her friends who also work with her at the Cheesecake Factory. How effective is that getting the word out? Fairly limited. Okay. This is a common way you find scientists thinking. I've got an idea. I've got interest in it. A few people at my Cheesecake Factory have interest in it. Therefore, it must be a great idea. And it must be able to make money. Therefore, you must agree with me. And I'm going to buy more rhinestones and start building the product now, paying for shipping, paying for rhinestones, all the while finding out I'm going to make less money doing this than if I collected pennies by a fountain in the city center. Never thought about how to make actually going to the market. This is a common issue. The program we're working to provide you has been built around this concept of how to bridge this gap. The common problems you find is that the focus is on the science, not the market. It's the rhinestones. Look how pretty it is. Isn't it fun? Look at it in my hair. Not how you get it to the market. And with scientists, survival of the actual fittest is most important. The product has to be perfect. But everyone who has studied evolutionary biology knows that that is not the case. What we've learned through history is it's the survival of the adequate, not the fittest. So in other words, good enough can actually make you very successful. Third, they like to be the Lone Ranger. They want to ride the horse. They want to get all the credit. all the honor, all the glory, just like a football player catching the ball, spiking it in the end zone, and raising his arms. When actually, as Hillary Clinton said, it takes a village. It takes a team of people to create a product. And finally, delivery is much more difficult and more complicated than you will ever put down in a plan. So, many people talk about the idea pipeline. If there's an idea inside of companies, inside of your brain, your garage, your laboratory, this is turned into a technology, something that can be used. And then a miracle happens. And all of a sudden you have a company, you're making money, and you're rich and wealthy. Actually, this is a problem because this is not the way the process really works. It really looks more like this. You have an idea that you build into a technology, and then you must press it against the market to find the fit. And that's an iterative process, meaning it has to happen again and again and again for the fit to be understood. Then you develop a roadmap of how to take your technology and fit it to the market. Then you execute the roadmap and you generate what we call translational data. Data that shows your technology actually works in a commercially viable fashion. If it's a diagnostic device, it actually detects the disease and doesn't misdiagnose disease. Other types of examples. What you find, though, is that most companies have a ready, fire, aim strategy. They want to get going so quickly, they jump over steps. They immediately take their technology or their idea and they make a company. They sit in their little office and they talk with their other friends. They look at each other and they discuss and they get their idea. This is what we should do. And then we build data. And we spend lots of money that we get from grants or from private equity. And then we go talk to people about the data. Here's my results. Do you like them? And they say, no, it's really not what I want. Really? Then I have to go back and work again on my technology and go get more money and do it all over again. Shockingly, since 2008, there's not that much money. There's not enough money to make a lot of mistakes. Therefore, you really must focus on being disciplined. Let me show you a clue from Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison is a famous character in the U.S. as the example of the entrepreneur. Most of us know the end of the story. Edison looked at 6,000 different ideas before he found out what would be the right filament to make a light bulb that would burn for hours. But most of us do not know that he was not the first person to invent the incandescent light bulb. Actually, Joseph Swan had a patent issue the year Edison actually applied. As Paul Harvey would say in the U.S., and now the rest of the story. Actually, Edison was the 23rd person to file a patent on the incandescent light bulb. Not the first, not the second, but the 23rd. Why was Edison's light bulb more successful? That's the key. It's because Edison conceived of the use of the light bulb where he could deliver electricity to buildings, to homes, and other environments. So when he delivered a light bulb, it wasn't a light bulb. It actually was an electrical circuit, which the rest of the inventors never conceived of. And of course we know that it was a successful invention. Without it, we would be still in the dark. But that's a joke. We argue that you need to practice disciplined commercialization. You have to connect scientific innovation to true market needs. But you shape the solution to meet a deficiency that no one else can actually do this, and it fits into a value chain where you make money. Again, if there's a need for a penny blossom, that's great. But how will I make money building the penny blossom? What needs to be my suppliers of rhinestones? Who will then be the channel to sell to end users? How much will that channel expect to introduce my product to their end users? And can I make money at the end? That's the value chain. We argue that you need to develop a market-driven prototype, not what's in your brain, but what the market asks for, with a defined commercialization roadmap. At reduced cost, shorter time to market in return, and you protect it with an appropriate strategy. Sometimes it's a patent, sometimes it's not. And you determine the best commercialization vehicle. Sometimes you build a company. Sometimes you license the technology to a company and you share in the royalties from the sales. Most importantly, you don't allow your enthusiasm to outrun your discipline strategy. So this is part of the things that will be taught during the lessons. We firmly believe it takes a village to build a knowledge-based ecosystem. It's exciting to see how you have built universities, researchers, and students generating genuinely interesting ideas throughout Turkey. How you've obtained funding opportunities from state and local governments, as well as the national government. You have incubators and technoparks to support and assist companies. And you're beginning to see the impact of jobs, tax revenue from the investment. Our goal is how do we come alongside you in this process to ensure that you invest the precious money that's available for entrepreneurship in an effective fashion. The last concept really is that most technologies are like this rock. They're useful, but they're not well suited. They have to be actually ground and shaped to build actually something that is more like a product. And this involves several milestones in development so that you can generate something that looks like, look, a castle. And my rock fits into that castle. And there are specific steps required to convert this rock into that castle. But then I also have to make this castle make money. That castle may need to become a bed and breakfast. It may need to become, I don't know, something else. But it requires go-to-market milestones as well that you've developed. And then this is where you can make profit. How do you define these milestones in development with your innovator? How do you define these milestones to go into market with your marketing and business staff? These are things we're going to discuss. And then how do you build a team around this technology that have expertise in the areas required both in developmental milestones as well as a go-to-market strategy? So we work with you to take an innovation and identify your co-innovation risks, your executional risks, and your adoption chain risks. So you develop a plan that then can be modified as you learn more. So these are part of the principles that we'll be teaching this training on. Where have we done these programs? Well, we've done these programs in training in Mexico, in Colombia, in many other countries. We've worked to take ideas like this concept of helping companies revise their strategies around these business concepts in, right now, 14 different countries around the world. And we look to try to fit their technologies into the marketplace. So this is our goal, to work with you, to tell you what we've learned, to work with you in this process so that you'll be able to take 10 ideas from Turkish inventors and with 40 people working on them, generate projects and ideas that give you a clear product plan that's linked toward the market. And that's something that you can then execute when we leave. And then the people who are trained are available to apply this methodology with other innovations that are appearing from their institution or other institutions. And the last piece is, how do we create sustainability? And that's one of the goals we'll be working with our partners here. How do we build sustainability into the strategy so that we can continue this program on an ongoing basis? So I'd like to stop here and see if there's any questions you may have. I'd be more than glad to answer some. And then after this, I think we're supposed to have a little break. So any questions or thoughts? So either this is a very good sign or a very scary sign. Yes, sir.
First of all, thanks for coming. I think this was a very interesting perspective. My question is, as far as I can see, you're aiming to build a cross-functional team out of different disciplines. One of the major obstacles in Turkey is, in the US you're lucky because you have business people interested in technology, you have state personnel interested in technology. In Turkey, that is a very limited pool of business people and state officials and also people working in the lab. How do you get them together in the same work culture? Is that part of the training?
That's part of the training. So this is a great question, and this is about building that human capital element. There are a precious few of you in the room and the people that you represent connections to who have active interest in this, in these key areas that we've acknowledged. We have learned that the best way to get alignment and cooperation is actually getting people in a position where they have to work together. We find that people can come to seminars and listen to people talk and dance and play instruments, but they don't learn to play the instrument. They don't learn to do the dance unless we invite them to be a part of the show. What we are inviting you to do is be a part of the show. We will train you in principle, but you must work together to apply them. You're going to be put into a position where you will feel uncomfortable. You will be put in a position where you are incapable of being sufficient by yourself. You will have to have help from other people on your team to complete the work. Why is this important? Because if you could do it all by yourself, you will. And you will not learn to work with other people. You will not strengthen ties across competitive organizations. You will not learn to rely on other individuals with different expertise, different personalities, different values than you. However, in business, you find yourself working with people sometimes that you like, and bluntly, a lot of times that you don't like. But you have to rely on them to do their job so that you both are successful. And so this is one of the laboratory of pushing people together is one way we wish to do this. We hope that there's excitement that comes out of the process, that, hey, we can do this. We can create great value by working together that draws more people to be a part of this team. After this program. Heath, you were going to say something.
I was going to say, there's usually concern about how teams form when you're working with somebody that's not part of your organization or someone you're not familiar with. One of the things you've observed internationally in a variety of areas, I'll use just one example. We, in Portugal, we had to be forced, because we're mean, we forced teams to be formed between different groups. And we had some, honestly, we had some guys that were getting ready to like, we don't want to ever see them again, we don't want to talk to them again, what have you. They worked through it. Okay? We helped them work through it, but you have no choice. You just have to work through it. We forced them to be uncomfortable. And now, a couple years later, I wouldn't say these guys are buddies, but they work together all the time to share deals, to exchange ideas. One's in Lisbon, one's in Guimarães, north of Porto, so other side of the country. They call each other probably once a week. They collaborate on projects. They still don't like hanging out. They don't go to dinner together. unless they have to, but they can work effectively together. And that's part of doing business internationally. You just have to, it's part of the learning.
And part of the goal, too, is to create a network throughout Turkey of people who have this expertise. What we've learned in Portugal is that in a country that is relatively small, we've worked with 14 leading educational institutions to build technology transfer offices. And by themselves, they're like little coals spread away from the fire that will just dwindle and go out. But if you push them together into a network, they stay on fire. They stay warm, and they actually create work. They create impact. And indeed, these technology transfer offices have dramatically changed Portugal. You may not hear about it in the news, but you're looking at over 1,000-fold increase in patent applications. You're looking at several hundred-fold increase in licensing deals and licensing revenue. You're looking at 132% increase in startup companies alone, which are averaging 40% hiring, per year hiring increases on an annualized basis. That are actually experiencing 35% profitability growth on an annualized basis. You don't hear about these things, but this is the small market below the larger problems in Portugal that's growing because people work together now. And we think that if you put this principle together to work in Turkey, this is a way Turkey can move from number 17 to number 10 or above in annual economy. Because you have the infrastructure, you have the capital engine, you have the scientific expertise that can really cause great impact. Other questions or comments?
All right, well,
Yep. I think we're going
we're going to do a break right now.
Let's do 15 minutes.
Yep, 15 minutes. When we get done with the break, hopefully this will keep you all from immediately getting in your car and driving off. I don't know. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the examples we worked on in international commercialization when we get back. We don't have that much time, but we're also going to talk about the metrics. People are often confused, and often we talk about how tech transfer might be the magic bullet to solving problems. I'll talk about what metrics actually mean and what's required to be profitable in this area. So anyway, and then after that, we'll of course have more questions and answers and whatever time we have allowed as you guys. See you back in 15 minutes.
And that means we'll see you back at 9 after. 9 after. Not 10 and not 8. 9 after. Thank you.